Post-pandemic, back to office mandates. Is it helping or hindering women?
I think that's up to us, to be honest with you. I think that we're making the decisions about what we want in our lives now. We've sort of been living a lifestyle that has empowered us at home with the kids and homework. And I think we have to go back and look deep and sort of say, what is my ambition now? Where do I want to be? And then make those decisions that are best for ourselves. So I think it can hinder us if we let change be mandated by somebody else and not saying, okay, what's the change I want to see in myself too?
So do you think it would be difficult or easy to convince corporate leadership that empowering women is good for business?
I think everybody is super conscious right now of DE&I. That's women, that's racial and ethnic minorities, and the role that needs to be played at every level, because we have to reflect society. Our businesses have to reflect society. So I think that that's helpful. I think that how we show up as women in the workplace is very important. It's not the days of old, like where we had to laugh and we had to be one of the boys. I mean, you came up with me, it was uncomfortable at times. You just had to go with it so that you could get ahead, because if you were going to rock the boat or complain, it was going to be, it wasn't going to go well. And I think now we have a real opportunity for younger leaders to say, this isn't okay, and this is how we have to behave at work, and everybody has to behave this way.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because prior to me working on Bay Street, I worked in broadcasting, and I was told that by a friend of mine, you're going to have to change who you are. You have to tone yourself down because Bay Street isn't ready for someone like you. So I've been through it as well. And we've taken risks. My risk was going from one industry to another. What risks are you, what is the biggest risk that you actually had to take in your career?
I just went from, the sales side of the desk over into the agency side. I started my career in agency, spent 20 some odd years on the sales side, and moved back into agency. And that was an uncomfortable place. When you get uncomfortable, it's good.
Yeah.
Go with it. Find it. Feel it. It is very empowering because you learn about yourself and about your people. But I think, again, risk is also opportunity. So you take the right risks at the right time for you, and it will pay off with success. You have to be taking risks to kind of get to that place. If you're ambitious, you will have to take risks. They're calculated, but you've got to go down that road.
It's really interesting that all these shows that I've taped, the ongoing theme on every show is risk. And this is something that a lot of women like to shy away from. This is something that a lot of women don't want to put themselves in because they're so afraid of failing. But as you'd mentioned earlier, we need to take risk, we need to fail, because it'll take us to the next level. So what would you say to someone who is so risk adverse, is terrified of taking risk and just doesn't want to, but wants to move on?
I would say figure out what it is inside of you that's making you uncomfortable. So often, and it hurts my heart when I see somebody young and smart and empowered going, I'm sorry, is this a stupid question?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to be stupid, I'm going to fail. That's all fear.
Right.
And fear will paralyze you. And it's, how do I get back up? Think about some point in your life where fear has held you back and what you did to overcome it, and then apply it in this case.
So if you're looking at risk in business for women, what types of risk would you like to see women going forward take?
I think I think stop apologizing. I think own our own space. I think in the absence of leadership, lead. I don't think you have to be entitled to be a leader. There's so many different ways to show up at work. There's different, employee groups, there's resource groups that you can put your hands up for and participate that shows real leadership. And I think exploring your leadership power and what it means to have a voice is so important for women. And there's such a great opportunity right now as we all start to come back together.
We have about 30 seconds before we go to break, but one of the things that I want to talk about is, so many women are afraid to put their voice out there. They're afraid to put their hand up in class. What do we do to change that?
I think it's support. It's women supporting women. It's recognizing that I remember when I felt that way. And it's not being afraid to help somebody or to give them advice. And it's about encouragement. And we really have to encourage one another better.